There are 1,000,000 ways to die. We just wanna talk about it. CodeHeads.
Hello, Codeheader.
Good morning, or whatever time it is to you. Welcome to CodeHeads. Welcome back. Happy to see you.
Happy to be
So
here.
today we are going to talk about vaping and e-cigarettes. Prevalent, common usage out there. My son is in high school. He says all the kids are using it in the bathroom,
Mm,
even though there's signs saying not to. Now,
mm.
at my age now, 52, this would have seemed impossible to me to comprehend in the 80s. What is now ordinary? A cigarette, right? Replaced by a battery-powered device flavored like mango or cotton candy or strawberry was recently blown in my face. There's no fire. There's no ash, no smell on skin and clothes.
You don't have to
And
spray
that
yourself before walking in to your
that
parents.
apparent but benignity, like no need to step outside, no need to hide, wash your hands, brush your teeth, launder your clothes. So there's no restrictions and no lingering odor. And I quit smoking 27 years ago, but that would be really appealing to me because it took a lot of effort to go have a cigarette, especially if your parents were upstairs, it was very involved. So this simplicity and ease are alarming to me. I mean, they would have been
Mm.
appealing to me back in the day, but now it alarms me.
Yeah. On the
Yeah,
flip side, being a parent or being an
yeah,
adult
right.
and being in the
Different
medical field.
perspective.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you. So I am a never smoker. uh, However, a lot of my friends smoked, and it was always that thing of like, oh my God, we have to get far enough away and spritz. And I'm like, you just smell like cigarette smokes and like whatever
Yes,
sprit.
yeah.
And your choice was like, your choice was either regular, like, or menthol. Like those were the two options, right? Too for
Yeah.
cigarettes. There's a whole array of flavors now, but that you can inhale. Um, and I think it's interesting with this whole vape and e-cigarette thing, and I'm just going to refer to all of them just as vapes because
Yeah.
that's what it is in my head. But you know, for almost it's been 2 decades now, since
Wow.
the kind of creation of this e-cigarette, this vape world. And it was marketed under the guise of being, a clean or a safe alternative to um, just a little fun fact. I'm not going to play the incoming fun fact, but a little fun fact is that in the industry they call it a combustible tobacco. So this is an alternative to regular cigarettes. And the narrative that they created for these vapes and whatnot is it's great. People are just absolutely sucking it down, literally. And there's a huge surge in use by adolescents, by young adults, because they're under this extremely dangerous, in my opinion, um, a kind of assumption that there is a zero health risk because smoking, they know causes cancer. We have, you know,
Right.
I think every one of their parents is like, don't smoke, it causes cancer. Don't smoke, look what is going to happen to your skin and your face. And like, don't smoke, don't smoke. So kids, my kids and, my nieces and my nephew, like, it's like, oh, they're smoking. Ooh, like they would never smoke a
Right.
cigarette. Like, it's like, oh my God, that's like asking them to light off an atomic bomb. Like they would never do it. Like, no. Um, but I think vaping is a little more like, oh, it's fine. It's not that bad for you. But to your point, it is secret, or it can be secret because it's not this like big smell that lingers in your hair and makes your teeth yellow and all this like
Yeah.
outward stuff that cigarettes do that like someone walks past you and you're like, oh, you don't have that with vaping. So I think it makes it sneakier. Kids can go
Yeah.
into the bathroom at school and not get caught, whereas they used to be, like, hanging out on the bathroom window and, like, "Ooh," trying to, like,
Yeah.
and they'd set off smoke detectors and,
And
um
yeah. And that influences overuse because you can do it at any point. You could take a drag at any time. For the cigarette, you would have to light it, and then there was a process. With this, grab it, do that. So the consumption has increased, which is also concerning because like you said, if they consider it benign, if they are like, well, it's not a cigarette and it's clean, it's clean, it's organic, or something like that.
Which
But
it's not.
no, it's totally not. Our lungs are not made to ingest that aerosol and the other products that they are sneaking in there as well. And
Well,
it's not nicotine free, which they have stated is not accurate
it
consistently. That's labeling. That's like when they sell eggs that says, what free range, where free range is defined by like a tiny square. So
yeah.
it's BS.
They're free range.
It's
Well,
brilliant marketing.
they
Brilliant
actually, a lot
marketing.
of them have a higher concentration. They have 50 milligram per ml in that fluid that's in there of nicotine, which is
Yeah.
way
And
higher than a cigarette.
it's like a nicotine salt, so it like absorbs quicker. They get that rush. Um,
Faster,
yes, and
rapid
that's
absorption of nicotine.
that's
And so
obviously
that's what actually fuels this addiction. And
yes,
you can see people, like I see people like when I'm driving or, you see people, it's like hand to mouth, hand to mouth, hand to mouth. It's like, do they take in any air? It's like they're constantly doing it.
right.
And, again, with cigarettes, like, you know, again, I was never a smoker, but a lot of my friends were, and it's like they felt like they could feel like they'd wake up in the morning like and like coughing up stuff. Like in college, my room would be like coughing up crap after she'd be like, "Oh, did I smoke last night?" I'm like, "Yes, you smoked," and she'd be like, "Oh, I
Right,
told you not to let me," and I'm like, "Well, I mean, there's only
right.
so much I can do," but you know, um, I said, "Don't do it," and you did it. But like you cough up, like you're gross, you feel gross and whatever, and it's not the same with the vaping. And there's been some studies where, teenagers are reporting, using vaping as like the primary entrance into smoking. So they never smoked.
Yeah,
And they're just like, oh, this is cool. It smells good. And, ooh, but they're also using it, to reduce like because sometimes people would go to smoke if they had social anxiety and they didn't know what to do in a situation. They're like,
absolutely.
oh, I need a break, I'm gonna
W
go up a
Yeah,
cigarette.
you'd walk into a party, you need to do something with your hands because, you
Yeah,
feel awkward.
yeah, or you get overwhelmed or like whatever,
Yeah,
and instead of just not everyone can be me. That's like, hey, so they're like, oh my god, I need a break from this. Whereas I'm
right.
like, yes. They go out and they have a cigarette, they take a minute, and then they come back in. And that's kids are using vaping like that. So
Yeah,
they're like, they don't have the crutch of a cigarette. So they're just kind of going. Um, and then on the flip side, there's some adults that recognize, like, hey, I've been smoking like a cajillion packs of cigarettes,
yeah.
over my lifetime. So this isn't good. So I'm going to start vaping so then I can, get off the cigarettes. But
Yep,
with
yeah.
high nicotine content, it's not happening.
Yeah, and the FDA does not endorse that as a method of quitting. They have Chantix, they have the patch, but it's not at all advocated as a
And the WHO, the World Health Organization too, they really are, they put out a statement against vaping and e-cigarettes and any
and
sort of that.
could could I mention the flavors? Like, we touched on it, but mango, bubblegum, cotton candy, that's not incidental. That's a
Mhm.
deliberate strategy to appeal to young users. I mean, call it like it is. And,
Yeah. Like what
and
adult man's gonna be like, oh, I want,
bubble gum, yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
and when I was in high school,
No
so I'm
judgment.
bringing up all my bad habits, but I also used smokeless tobacco. It
Oh,
was
like
just
dip?
dip. It's just what we did. Now, Skoal, the smokeless tobacco company, back 1980, when was I in high school? 1988, right? You had Skoal Straight, Skoal Wintergreen, Skoal Mint, basic flavor.
Mm.
Couple years later, what came out? Cherry,
Oh, I remember
apple,
that. Yeah.
citrus, stuff that I would never do because it just wasn't
But
real. It
it
was,
was still gross if I recall correctly. It still smelled like dip. It just
well, to each his own, but
well,
this,
yeah, I'm not
but,
judging.
but again, it reminds me of that same trajectory. It's like, we need new users. These companies, like, we need new users. We need to target these kids.
Yeah,
Kids
food
like
tobacco
candy.
doesn't make enough.
So
Yeah.
when you sell it like candy, it's going to attract children. It's sinister.
I know, and, there was a documentary, and I wish I remembered the name of it. I saw it a couple of years ago, and I was like, "Oh my god," because it was about the people who started creating these vapes, and they did intentionally they went after it originally to create a product to get you off of smoking, but that's not what they ended up creating. And then it just snowballed.
No.
Like, once the technology was there and everyone started jumping in on it because, they did say that, like, some of the fluid like, some of the stuff they're using and that's why the kids are like, "Oh, it's organic because 'cause it's got, propylene, glycol that's, it's not as bad as, some of the other chemicals." But
Right.
what they don't think of is like, okay, so this thing is heating up to like, 300 degrees. So when it hits your lungs, it's about 157 degrees Celsius, right? But at that point, that propylene glycol that seems like, "Oh, that's benign." Like, if they're gonna Google it, it seems relatively benign as a,
Okay.
as a additive, right? But they don't realize that it turns into formaldehyde,
That's
acetone,
not good.
and acetaldehyde. So those are 3 really not good things. Like,
Right.
formaldehyde is what we put in dead people. Like, you don't want to be ingesting that. So they've people forget about chemistry sometimes, I think. Like something could be, one thing, and then you light it a fire and you get it to a certain temperature and poof, just like how water can turns into, vapors. It's not, you know
I mean, is it also, I mean, I came across this, I don't know if it's accurate, so that's why I went it through. But there's even byproducts in there like heavy metals, like
Oh,
nickel,
for sure.
tin,
Cobalt.
lead.
Yep.
Like we don't have to,
Aluminum.
we don't even need to prove those are harmful, right?
Right. I mean,
You're
like, here I am sourcing aluminum-free deodorant so that, like, my kids aren't exposed, and I'm sure there's a cajillion mothers out there in the same ballpark that are like, "Oh, let's get an antiperspirant that doesn't have aluminum that actually works," and then their kids are there vaping and like, "Ooh, aluminum,
Yep.
lead," We have lead-free homes, we have,
Right. Lead
like
paint. Remember
yeah.
paint? We all had lead paint back in the day, and now it's gone.
Yeah, you tell your kids not to suck on a nickel or,
Right.
any other thing, like, I mean, all these things, and then it's all of a sudden it's being marketed one way, and it's like people just don't, kind of think about that, the flip side.
Right. Right. And
And I feel like that's what I always do. I always am like, but how does that work?" And I know that not everyone's brain is like mine and goes to a, "Oh, that's cool. How does it work?" Sort of situation.
right.
Um, but it's something to think about because of the high use and the amount that people are doing it. Um
Yeah.
And, those people that are switching from vaping to or from I apologize, like
Cigarettes.
from cigarettes to vaping or like vice versa, they have like a 2.6-fold increase in increased risk of cardiovascular disease
Wow.
because of all the damage that they're doing. As compared to someone who has never smoked. Um and if they're just, vaping, it's like a I think it's like a 1.5% risk or something. But it's still a high risk, and
I
it
mean, it's awful because if you did have good intentions, I'm gonna try to vape to get off the cigarette, and now you're stuck with 2 problems. Ugh, and
right.
your cardiovascular risk, like you just said.
And also, with not for nothing, but with the vaping, a lot of those, chemicals that I mentioned before that kind of occur when you heat up these different additives, um, you know, they cause no one everyone knows that smoking leads to cancer, right? But no one thinks about the cancer risk with vaping, and
Right.
there's a lot of DNA damage that can happen, and there's all sorts of, mitochondrial
Oh,
dysfunction that
yeah.
can occur because of these additives and what they turn into when you're actually inhaling them. And so that's why, you can get popcorn lung. That's why
Yes.
all these different, risks that are associated with it are
Yes.
pretty bananas.
I mean, the brain development also, I mean, is a serious concern because, like, especially adolescents, right? Adolescents' brains are more vulnerable to like nicotine dependence and those neurological effects. So, on attention, learning, mood, impulse control, which we seem to already have an issue regarding that in general globally. So, and these could be potentially lasting. Like, we are essentially ran an uncontrolled experiment on a generation of teenagers.
All right. And I think we've had a great conversation thus far about vaping, and we have more to come next week. Yeah, Mike?
We do. We thought we could cover it in one episode, but we realized it's just not possible. We have to get into the respiratory component in a little more depth and other areas that we will surprise you with where you don't
Yeah.
think we might go.
There might be some incoming fun facts.
Probably.
So, on that note, we will see you all next week.
There are 1 million ways to die. We just wanna talk